Hello, my beautiful people. Here is another episode after a short break that I needed to have fun, to enjoy life. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the contrast that life is providing us and how we need isolation, and at the same time not at the same time, usually on a different time, we are also very in need of having company and being around people. And I think the beauty of life is that in different times different things will resonate with us and different people will resonate with us. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge this and to allow people near. And this is what I want to jam on today. I realize with myself that when I'm in the process of healing, I do a lot of healing work by myself, and I also have, I would say, a lot of friends and also a lot of healers and coaches that are on the reach of my hand if I need them. And I realize it's very crucial to know how to ask for help and ask for help when you feel you need someone to share their perspective with you or to just give you the idea. And there is an illusion that usually happens, which is that you have to figure out things by yourself, or that only you know the real story or anything like that. And I know for myself that if I'm not conscious of it, or I would say it happens naturally, I can get into this tendency of believing that I have to fix things by myself and that isolation is the thing that helped me most. And during this year, which has been very turbulent for me, it's interesting how I was actually going through different phases. But I would say that throughout the whole, since January to, let's say, end of April, May, I had different ideas or different pulls to reach out to certain people and ask for help. And I have to say that I'm really proud of myself by the way I was asking for help and reaching out to people that maybe I even didn't speak for a while. And I was testing my intuition by doing that, and I realized that whoever I reached out, it was they gave me exactly what I needed at that time. Maybe it was a conversation that I needed. Maybe they gave me an insight that I was searching for, or whatever it was. And I posted a video not a long time ago on my IGTV regarding this feeling that you are losing your mind, or the feeling that you're going crazy. And like I said in that video, that feeling, I believe it's coming from when your old identity is dying, or the beliefs that you used to have are not resonating anymore, and you are in the process of becoming someone else or becoming a new self. And during this process, there's usually a confusion that happens, because it's kind of there would be old beliefs that died, or that you don't resonate with them anymore. However, there is not a new picture totally built yet, so you don't have this new identity built yet. And in that time in between, you can feel very confused and you can feel very vulnerable. And that's how I felt after, I would say I had a 3 months of deep, or even a bit more than 3 months of deep healing, and a lot of crying and a lot of cleansing and putting everything out and shouting and screaming and all those different things, like expressing myself wildly as I wanted to, and doing whatever it take to basically heal myself. And then there was a period where I felt very vulnerable to even expose myself in the world. And a part of it is definitely the whole situation that was happening with Corona. And I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with this, because once you are in this isolation for so long and you are away from the world and you are by yourself, just dealing with your own thoughts, or just with your family or whoever you are in isolation with, and the real touch with the world that you have is only through your phone, and then all of a sudden the social gathering starts again, and you can feel very, like kind of like vulnerable going among people, especially if you're introverted like me, which a lot of people wouldn't say, but I definitely am hardcore introverted. It's like you can feel very, like, at least I felt like coming out but still feeling wounded and still feeling like, or I would even, the way I was stating it one day was that I feel like the mask that I used to wear doesn't fit me anymore, and I don't want to wear it anymore. And I kind of feel so exposed to go into the world like that without that mask on. And there was a period for me where I was just like, I really had to force myself to hang out with people, open to connections again, start being open to, like meet new people. And now that I am past that stage, and I would say in the past 2 weeks, I met so many new people, and conscious that is happening, and like I just want to like point it out to you as well. Maybe it resonates with your stage right now, or maybe you were in different stages throughout this year as well. But yeah, just this contrast of like knowing when it's time to step away from people, and especially if you're very extroverted and you are always used to being around people and always having company, and you're not comfortable being by yourself, you will grow the most when you are by yourself. That's for sure, because it will be very uncomfortable in the beginning, but that's where your growth is, because you're not used to that and it's a challenge for you. So if you are extroverted and you are used to like just hang out with people every single day or during the weekends, and you've been through whole Corona situation, I bet that you had a lot of internal dialogue and that inner stress and anxiety that is coming from not being able to have the external stimulation to kind of make you feel better. So you were forced to look within and see what's happening within. And then you have also the other option, which is like if you're used to being by yourself, if you're used to being introverted and you're so okay being alone, you probably didn't mind quarantine. I didn't. I was enjoying it. But then is like you will grow the most when you are willing to be open to other people and allowing them in, and be extroverted and going out and like sharing yourself with the world. And in the end, it's all about the balance. We have to find the right balance, and we have to listen to ourselves when it's time to go out and hang out with people, and when it's time to be by yourself. And if there's like a specific stressful situation that happened to you, or a trauma that you are experiencing, then you have to have a lot of compassion for yourself and allow yourself more time to maybe be by yourself or deal with it whatever your preferred way is. So there is always like there will always be a flow. There's no one way to do it. And but I feel like it's important to just talk about these things and just remind ourselves from time to time that there is no greater mirror than other people. Like, they will mirror to you whatever is within you. And the funny thing is, like yesterday I was watching Castaway. I just felt like watching that movie after not seeing it since I was basically a child. And there was an interesting, when they have the, I would say when, I don't even remember what was his name. Chuck? Was he Chuck? When actually he was in, that island, and he started feeling anger and frustration, and he was having his friend Wilson. That was just a ball. But it's interesting, like when he started shouting on the ball and expressing anger and being like all angry on Wilson, it's a nice perspective to see that the anger that he felt towards Wilson was his own anger, because Wilson didn't give him anything back, and I was really fascinated to see that even if you are all by yourself, you will go through the same processes. You will, there are certain lessons in life that we have to learn, and whether that is through people, or then when we're gonna be lonely or we're not gonna have anyone, we would just start talking to objects, because we need someone to mirror things back. We need someone that we can express things towards them. But the crucial element here is to remember that everything that we are expressing is within us. So everything that we are saying, everything that we are feeling, those are our feelings. And there is a quote in one song from Billie Eilish. I don't know if that's what she meant by this quote, but that's how I interpreted it. Is the blood you bleed is just the blood you own, and the feelings that you feel are just the feelings that you own. So I think it's really crucial to remember these things, and to also know that when things are happening and you're angry on someone and you're resenting them, or you're feeling frustration towards them, usually what you are frustrated for is that they are mirroring a certain behavior that you don't like about yourself. And to be totally honest here, I believe that every single person on this planet is capable of doing all the good stuff and all the bad stuff as well. We are all capable of killing people. We are all capable of, just fighting each other. There just has to be a certain, situation that push you into that. But we have this within us. We are still animals. We have this, forces within us that are like, we have a drive to survive, and because of that drive to survive, you're capable of doing like many extraordinary things, and also things that we would consider that are bad or not as good. And usually the way I see it, especially like after I start working with the shadow and the shadow work and everything like that, is like every single like basically attribute that you have, or I would say everything that you don't like about other people, or you are pointing fingers to the way they're acting, is basically something that you still haven't accepted within yourself, and you still haven't accepted that you are able to hurt people, that you are able to, you know, do bad stuff to people in general. And especially like now that we've been through this, I mean, we're still going through the whole movement, like Black Lives Matter, and like just seeing all this basically videos coming up and everything that's happening, and it makes you feel a certain way. These are still feelings that are within you. So you can use that, whatever is coming up, you can use that in your own way of healing. This can be your basically it's pointing out stuff within you that you still have to work on. And I think that like with the closer that we allow these things to influence us, the more we are able to feel and to heal, which I believe is the same thing. To feel is to heal. And there's also one thing that I want to point out here, like especially when I say when I was kind of making it feeling and healing the same thing, there is a difference between feeling what's happening in your body, feeling the reaction that you're having. And I think I explained this a lot of videos before, but I think it's such a crucial thing to bring it up again. So you can have a feeling that is coming up from your body, and then you observe that feeling and you feel it, and then you allow your mind to interpret what you are feeling, and it's kind of like a cycle that is happening, but it starts with your body feeling it. And then you have another types of feeling, which is when it starts from your mind. And there is a very crucial like difference here, that if it starts from a mind, so if you're sitting here and your mind starts making stories and being like, oh, if this and this happens, I don't know, this and this will show up, and then I will be this and they will be that, blah blah blah, and there is a story that is coming up, and then their emotions coming up. This is a whole other thing. This is not healing anymore. This is getting trapped into the story and repeating to yourself the story that doesn't feel good, so that you kind of keep yourself in your emotional home. And when it comes to healing, feeling and healing, I believe it's like you get triggered, something happens, and your body reacts with emotions. You observe that emotions, you allow them to come up, but at the same time, you're also the observer of the emotions. What that means is that you are not trapped into feeling. You know that what you're feeling, yes, it's your body, you are feeling it, but at the same time, you know that you are something bigger as well. You are someone that is observing yourself, how you are feeling these emotions. And that's what is the true healing, when you are able to be a parent to that child within that is currently feeling those emotions. And you don't hold to the story, but you just allow the emotions to go through you. And when they run through you, that's when they kind of like leave your body, and the healing can happen. I hope that I made this clear. Usually I use hands to demonstrate how this looks like, but here is no video, so I hope this is clear. Otherwise, send me a message and I will record a video about this topic. But yeah, like, and then when it comes to relationships, we have to be aware that people that we will allow closer, so whoever is, like usually the partnerships, the relationships, are the ones that like we allow the closest, so they will have the access to our heart and they go the deepest, and they are your biggest mirror, because the closer you allow people to come, the more detailed your reflection in them is. And it's really important to not be scared of letting people near, because if you don't let people near, you cannot really know yourself, because that vision in the mirror won't be clear, and you will basically just get like a surface things projected on you. But the more you allow people to be near you, the more you allow them to see who you really are, the more you're able to know yourself. And the more you know yourself, the more you are able to expose yourself. So it's like an ongoing process. And usually with people that are not allowing others to come near, they don't even want to come near themselves. They don't even want to know themselves, or they subconsciously suppress who they really are, because they know that there's still a lot of pain within them, that there's still a lot of like unprocessed emotions that scares them. And I know how it is. Like, I'm like, even though I do believe that I'm very, how should I say, like, I dive deep into the emotions and I just want to fucking feel it all, I still get trapped sometimes into that ego idea when I feel that there's something coming up for me that I should be looking at, and I see that thing being projected to me through many different people. But if I admit what's being projected, there is usually a story within me that has to die. So there is a story that I made up, like a perception of the future that I made up, and what people are projecting to me is that this story will have to die. And that's usually like the hardest thing to admit. It's the hardest thing to let go and allow yourself to really process through it, because our ego just loves the story that we make up. And we love the idea that we know what's going to happen in the future, and that we have everything under control, and that we know exactly what is coming. And especially like if you are, for example, if you started a business and you were all in for the business, and then, you get this projection from other people that keep on saying that, some things are a bit off, or that things are a bit off, but you just spend so much time, building this business, and now you don't want to like really just throw it away and start from a scratch. And this is usually like a story that it's hard to swallow. Or then the other one are relationships, when you make up a story of like, this will be forever, like we're meant to be forever till the end. And then you got projections from your partner, from the outside or from within, like just knowing that there's something off, and you just don't want to see it, because that means that your story that you created in your head will have to die. Same goes for friendships, same goes for, any kind of projects, anything that you are starting, and when it starts feeling off. And I believe that we as people, we are not growing fast enough just because we are not willing to let go of our stories. If we would really listen to our intuition and just admit to ourselves, first and foremost, that things don't need to last forever. Like any of the things, like not even the business that you created, not like a project that you started, like not the house where you're living, or the place, the country where you decided to live, or a partnership or anything like that. And because we are holding on to this idea of forever and this is how it has to be, we have really hard times of letting go. And if we would be faster in letting go, we would be faster in learning the lessons and, bringing in something new. But there is always this dilemma of like, yeah, we don't want to give up. And it's important, like that's the hardest part. But usually people know when these things are happening. But the hardest part is to know like the difference between when the ego is saying like, oh, we should give up because this is too hard and it's not working, but we still know that within that this is the right thing to do, versus if we know within that this is not a project for us or this is not a partnership for us, but the ego wants to like, yeah, but we can make it work, we can create it the way we want it and all the other stuff. So there's a very, very thin line between those two situations, and usually it's hard to know them from where you are. We usually need the contrast. We need something like something better coming along, or something falling apart, that you are able to finally see the contrast. And when you see the contrast, you're able to admit to yourself, hey, this is not working, or the other way around, like I just have to try harder. But yeah, this is basically something that we are just training through our intuition, and the intuition can be best trained by allowing people close to you. So I hope that this episode is a reminder for you that it's time to allow people even closer, and to allow yourself to meet yourself closer, and on the deepest level, or deeper level, because I think that the whole purpose of this life, or why we are here, is to get to know ourselves and explore the world and explore who we are, or who we could be, and the potential of becoming, something else, or becoming powerful, individual, courageous being. And it's just about having fun. And usually if you are not allowing people close to you, and you're just, oh, I don't like this kind of people, I don't like partying, I don't like this, I don't like that, well, then you are just not having fun. And it's so easy to get trapped into that mood of like, yeah, whatever, everything has to be so serious, we just have to do the healings, we just have to do the work, and we have to learn the lessons. This is just tons of bullshit. I know I can get trapped into that as well, but it doesn't serve us. Life is about being playful and having fun, but there is always a balance. So for people that are just playful and just having fun and refusing to do serious things and learn the lessons, have tough conversations, then maybe this is an invitation for them to do that. So it's usually whatever is the most uncomfortable for us, it's the best for our growth. So yeah, I hope this episode served you. It's just something that was on my mind and I wanted to share with you. And if you have any specific questions, even if you have any questions like that I can answer on a video on my IGTV, feel free to send me a private message and I'll be happy to do so. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.